I'm so crazy. But anyway, I'm gonna try to record as much of this as I can. So it says again, all right. So the prophets were not to give into no type of fear. But let's continue reading. He said, he says, verse 6 again, and not too many people of a strange speech or of a hard language whose words thou canst not understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. And as I said before, right? If the Most High will say, hey, go to the Gentiles and teach them that they're going to receive salvation in the kingdom of heaven, then guess what? They're going to listen. All right. You know why? Because they do now, and many of them do believe it. You know what I mean? When the false prophets teach them that stuff. You see that? But we already know, man, again, that the kingdom of God is going to the ancient Israelites. All right. The heathen, they're going to be the ones that are going to be the servants, right? You can't have a kingdom without those who are going to serve you. And that's what the Bible shows in Isaiah chapter 14, Isaiah chapter 60. You know what I mean? In those chapters, man, they show you that the nations are going to serve us. All right. And it says, verse 7, but the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee. We go out there right now, man, pass out literature and stuff, right? You're going to sit there, you're going to see a bunch of them. Either they're going to toss it. I don't believe this. You know what I mean? You're going to have those that will hearken. And that's where that, the the Matthew chapter 13 comes in, right? The parable of the sower and the seed. You see that? Where Christ talks about those brothers that do the work, right? You know what I mean? And you got those that are sown on stony ground. You know what I mean? Those that are sown, amongst the berries and thorns. Those that are sown on good ground, right? And that will produce the fruit. Okay. So they're the ones. And those are going to be the ones, right? You know what I mean? That will produce the fruit, right? And receive the kingdom. Everybody else that was before that, those the ones that didn't make the cut. Okay. So that's why he said, but the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impotent and hard-hearted. You see that? Impotent and hard-hearted, right? That's how a lot of our people are. Okay. The vast majority, and that's why the Lord talks about the 2/3, man, of our people that are going to be cut off and die, right? You look at 2/3, 2/3 is a lot. That's a big number, okay? And only a third is going to be left, right? That third is already talked about in the book of Revelations, chapter 7, right? At the end, I believe it's verse 9. After the 144,000 are sealed, right? Then you have the multitude, you know what I'm saying, out of every language, nation, and tongue, right? You know what I mean? That's talking about the ancient Israelites, okay? The Hebrews, they're the ones that's talking about, all right? Those are the ones that basically got their ish right, got themselves together, and they're the ones that's going to receive the kingdom, all right? The blessings of the kingdom. The 144,000, the ruling and governing body of the nation. Then you're going to have, you know what I'm saying, the people, right? You know what I mean? That will be your permanent upper class. Then you're going to have the nations, man, the ones that are going to serve, all right? And it also talks about that in the book of 2nd Ezra, okay? I believe it's chapter 2. Now he says, behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. You see that? So he said that he's made our forehead strong against theirs. Whatever knowledge that they have, we can gain more knowledge, right? And come against them and squash whatever they talking about, man. That's why the Israelites are so hated. Because we'll challenge anything and everything. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what it is. All right. So then he says, as an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not. Let me read that again. As an adamant harder than flint, right? Or rock. He says, have I made thy forehead? Have I made your forehead, right? He says, fear them not. So we're not supposed to give in to fear when it comes to dealing with these hard-headed Negroes, right, that don't want to listen, Okay. So they may come at the prophets murderously. You know what I'm saying? They may pull out guns, knives, sticks, bats, clubs, chains, whatever they want to come with, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what they come with. Okay. That's why the scriptures talk about how, we've been made a spectacle. Okay. But anyway, so he says, neither be dismayed at their looks. So we're not supposed to fear their looks. All right. He says, though they be a rebellious house. You see that? Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thine heart and hear with thine ears, right? Receive with our heart and hear with our ears. Okay. So the Most High said, I'm going to teach you. All right. I'm going to build you up and I'm going to make you spiritually unstoppable. Okay. So where, it's just like Christ said, man, that he's going to put a spirit on us that they won't be able to gainsay nor come against. All right. They're going to get shut down every time they try to come up. Okay. So then he says in verse 11, and go get thee to them of the captivity, right? So he said, get to them of the captivity. So he's not talking about go to the white man, go to the China man, go to the East Indian, go go to any of these other nations, right? He said, go to them that are of the captivity. So who are the ones that I know that have been over here in bondage for almost 400 years? You know what I mean? The people that got the same color skin as I do. All right. So now it says, and go and get thee to them of the captivity unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, thus said the Lord God, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. You see that? You see how important the mission is. All right. But again, you know what I'm saying? We're, as prophets, we're not supposed to fear. All right, what they say. So that's why you got Aaron. When Aaron feared the people, you know what I'm saying? When they pressed him, they came at him and pressed him about, hey, we don't know where this man Moses is. Make us gods now. You know what I mean? And he gave in and, okay, give me all the gold out your ears and your son's ears, and we'll make a big calf. You know what I mean? He wasn't supposed to do that. They just had read the commandments. That's what they were taught. Okay, they just had read those laws, right? And what was the first one? Thou shalt have no other gods before me, right? And then, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, right? They just broke the first two commandments right then and there. You see that? And had the nerve, you know what I mean? To sit there and play before the damn thing, offer sacrifice and oblation. You know what I'm saying? That's why Moses was so angry. He basically slammed, you know what I'm saying, the law, onto the ground because he was so angry about it. We just went over the commandments. So Moses, you know what I'm saying? Moses had his moments, right, of frustration where, instead of speaking to the rock, he struck the rock, out of his anger and frustration. Okay. Because of their hard-headedness, right? The people are pressing him and talking like, ah, drink your water, shut up. But anyway, so let's go back to the book of Jeremiah. I was Jeremiah 23, right? So yeah, Jeremiah 23, and I'm gonna pick it up at verse 24 again. Now it says, can any hide himself in the secret places that I shall not see him, saith Yahweh? Do not I fill heaven and earth? Absolutely. Saith Yahweh, I have heard what the prophets said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. You see that? So this is what they're declaring to the people, right? You know what I mean? They're showing them dreams, right? And we know what the scriptures we know what the scriptures say about dreams, right? How dreams can raise up fools, okay? All right. And then also it's in the law, you know what I'm saying, where it talks about, say, for instance, if a prophet, speaks something, right, or a dreamer of dreams, they come to you with a sign, right, and the sign come to pass, and they lead you away to serve other gods, then what's supposed to happen? You know what I mean? Y'all supposed to be the first one to lay your hands on them. Don't hearken unto them. Don't serve them or whatever. Okay. So you're not supposed to do what that false prophet says, right? You know what I mean? Even if the sign and the wonder come to pass. Okay. And he's leading you away from the Most High. That's the key. He's leading you away from him. All right. So he's trying to lead you away to disobey his word rather than to obey what he's saying. He says, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of the deceit of their own hearts, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams. You see that? They forget, they do what? That they cause the people to forget my name, right? Forget the name of Yahweh, okay? So then he says, by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. For who? For Baal, or the master, or the Lord, right? The false pagan deity, okay? And we'll get into that also when we start going into like the names and stuff, right? Or the reason why the King James translators chose to use, the four capital letters of LORD, you know what I mean? Or the three capital letters of God, right? It was there. That's basically, the LORD in all caps is supposed to represent the tetragrammaton, right? Or the four letters, right? The Yod, He, the Wah, and the He, okay? That's what it's supposed to be there for, right? To cover the sacred name, all right? Because the King James translators also carried the superstition over into the English language of doing what? Of not saying or uttering the actual true name of the Lord, okay? Or they could have been like, well, shoot, nobody knows the actual pronunciations of the name, so we'll just continue it here from what the Masoretic text that we're translating from is doing. All right. So it says, the prophet that hath a dream, let him tell a dream, and he that hath my word, let him speak my word faithfully. You see that? So what is he showing us right here? Right? He said, what? Let the prophet that have a dream, let him tell a dream, right? But then he said, what? But they that have my word, right? Let them speak it faithfully. You see that? So what's the Most High's word, right, that overrides these fake false dreams, these phony dreams that these prophets is having, right? Hold this one more time. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 34. And let's look at verse 1. Sirach 34, verse 1. Y'all with me? We're just going into the spirit a little bit with this. Had a beautiful Sabbath. All right. Now we're just continuing, you know what I'm saying, at the closing of our Sabbath, just scriptural breakdown. Okay. Now let's look at this. So it says, the hopes of a man void of understanding are vain. You see that? The hopes of a man void of understanding are vain. They're worthless. You see that? So if you ain't got no understanding, then it don't mean a damn thing. Your hope don't mean nothing. You see what I'm saying? Many of our people out here, they're in that fantasy, you know what I mean? That everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be all right. No, you gotta look at everything that's going on around you, man. If you don't understand that this system and all this shit is gonna collapse any time now, you know what I mean? To where you can look in your bank account, it's gonna be zero, and that means you void of understanding. You're not understanding, man. And then of course, you know what I'm saying. Then we're gonna talk about, the Heavenly Father, man. You don't have the spirit of the Most High on you, man. You can forget about it. All right, you ain't gonna make it in these last days. So then he says, the hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false. You see that? And dreams lift up fools. You see that? And dreams lift up fools. Whoso regardeth dreams is like he that catcheth at a shadow and followeth after wind. You see that? So it's like, look, that's what a dream is, man. So as we see, man, when the Most High is talking about, he's talking about here in Jeremiah, right? The prophet that hath a dream, let him tell a dream, right? And he that hath my word, let him speak my word faithfully. You see that? Now let's continue reading in Sirach 34, right? He says, the vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeness of a face to a face. Of an unclean thing, what can be cleansed? And from that thing which is false, what truth can come? You see that? So what truth can come from a dream that don't mean nothing? You see that? A false vision, right? That's why the Lord was talking about. That's why he was talking about these pastors, man, these prophets that were prophesying out of their own heart, talking about, I have dreamed. You see that? They ain't dreamed a damn thing, because the Lord ain't sent them, because they ain't speaking the word of the Lord. All right. So now he says, divinations and soothsaying and dreams are vain, and the heart fancieth as a woman's heart in travail. You see that? So it just goes to show you, man, how our people, man, are deceived, man, by the divination, by soothsaying, right? And by dreams. All of it is just completely and absolutely vain, man, at the end of the day. Okay. That's not saying that every single dream isn't valid, because we know that, the Lord can send instruction or bind instruction through dreams as well. All right. But we know the type of instruction that the Lord will bind in dreams, because he showed us in scripture what he does. Okay. The magnificent things that he's shown Daniel, the things that he's shown Joseph, right? How Joseph was able to interpret dreams and stuff. You know what I mean? We'll know the difference. All right. If it's going to lead us closer to the Most High or take us away from him. All right. But like the Lord said, right? He said what? And let him that hath my word, let him speak my word faithfully. Okay, let's go back to Jeremiah 23. And let's finish up verse 28. He says, what is the chaff to the wheat, saith Yahweh? Is not my word like as a fire, saith Yahweh? And like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? You see that? Is not Yahweh's word like that? Absolutely. So remember, we had read in the book of Hebrews chapter 4, where it said the word of the Lord is quick and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword, right? So just like he showed you right here, he says, is not my word like as a fire? You see that? Doesn't it burn? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. It's like fire to the spirit. Positive, right? Like sets your soul right, sets you on fire, revives you, you know what I mean? Or negative, you know what I mean? Where it'll sit there and make you angry, right? To the point where you want to kill somebody because they're telling you what's right. You see what I'm saying? It happens. It happens. You know what I'm saying? You go look at street teaching videos, man. The people that's being told right, you know what I mean? They get so angry and infuriated. You know what I'm saying? You better stop wearing them damn pants. Them things is an abomination. Girl, take off them fake ass eyelashes and all that stuff, man. you know what I mean? And they tell them the history behind all that stuff, and they just get all mad and riled up, and you know what I mean? Tell the daughters of Zion, man, not to be hardy and do all this evil and stuff like that. Stop shaking your butts, leave them damn OnlyFans alone. You know, they gonna get upset. And they you're attacking me. You're attacking me. Like, it's been times, man. It's been time telling you, man. Like, you just speaking it, and somebody's gonna get offended because it didn't hit them. It didn't hit them because, you know, because that's something that they doing in the dark. You know what I'm saying? You sit there and say, look, the scriptures say, thou shalt not prostitute thy daughter, cause her to be a whore. Sisters got to stop wearing unmodest apparel, right? You see what I'm saying? And what happens? You know, they get upset about it. When you tell them that you tell them there's certain clothes or apparel that they can't wear. You see what I'm saying? They're still like, you're judging me. You're this, that, and the third. Like, no, I'm telling you right, because you're attracting the wrong attention. You see that? Or you start telling brothers, man, like, look, man, grow some facial hair. Be able to be without a facial hair, man, you look effeminate. You see what I'm saying? Stop shaving. It's against the law. It's against the law. Yeah, well, I got to keep my job. I got to take care of my family. You can still do that. You see what I'm saying? And have your beard. So, you know, it's like it's never ending, man. And that's just only some of, you know, some of the things, man, that people will get upset about, because the word of the Most High is like a fire. It'll burn. All right. Okay. And he says, said the Lord, and like a hammer that breaketh rock in pieces. Absolutely. That's how hard the word of the Most High come. I'm talking about people will get so mad, right? They doing donuts and all that stuff. People will get so mad and get so angry, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, that like you can, you know, you start hitting them with the precepts, man. They're just like, it is breaking the piece. I'm telling you, I've seen it. All right. The guy that come up boisterous, mad, and loud, next thing you know, he just like, damn, I just got my butt handed to me. Like, just like you can just tell the soul just be broken afterward, because the word of the Most High, man, how powerfully it hits. All right. Now he says, therefore, behold, I am against the prophet, said the Lord, or Yahweh, that steal my words, every one from his neighbor. I'm not saying it. This is the Lord saying it, man. You know what I mean? This is what he's saying. All right. He's against them. Okay. He said that steal my words, every one from his neighbor. You see that? I'm reading in Jeremiah chapter 23, and I just read verses 28, 29, and just read verse 30. Okay. Just read verse 30. Now he says, behold, I am against the prophets, said Yahweh, that use their tongues and say, he saith, right? He saith. So they basically, they speaking in the name of the Lord, right? For the purposes of evil. All right. Evil, you know what I'm saying? Evil, ill-gotten gain. Okay. This is what they're doing. It happened this time. It happened in, you know what I'm saying, what we call the New Testament, right? Thousands of years apart, right? And it's still happening. Okay. Still happening, right? Real quick, let's go to the book of Acts. Saying he saith. I'm gonna get Acts chapter 20, and I'm gonna read verse 28. So Acts chapter 20, and I'm starting at verse 28, okay? Now it says, take heed therefore unto yourselves and to all the flock over the which the Holy Ghost hath made you overseers, to feed the church of God, which he hath purchased with his own blood, right? So talk about a Mashiach, okay? Remember, he had purchased the church, right, with his own blood, right? So remember, you can't get around, you can't get past, right, that Acts chapter 5, right, verse 29 through verse 31, all right? How Yahushua was made a prince and a savior for Israel to give them uh, repentance, right, and forgiveness of sin. Can't get around that, all right? Now he says, for I knowing this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock. You see that? He says, also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things to draw away disciples after them. You see that? He said, speaking perverse things, right? He says, drawing away disciples after themselves. So like it's just like it was no different then. It was happening back then during the time of Jeremiah and Isaiah. You know what I mean? And it's happened. It's happening. It happened here during Paul's time after he departed, right? You know what I mean? And and it's still happening even now in our time, right? It's still going on, man. It's still happening. You know. So everything it's crazy. All right. So again, verse 30, also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things to draw away disciples after them. You see that? Therefore, watch and remember that by the space of 3 years I cease not to warn every one night and day with tears, right? That these things were going to happen, right? That these men were going to come and arise. All right. And that's just like with any movement, right? You're gonna have the perpetrators, you're gonna have the coons and the traitors, you know what I mean? You're gonna have those that are just doing it for ill-gotten gain, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have that, right? They're gonna use the word of the Lord to subvertly, right, to subvert souls and insert their own teachings, right, and build their own philosophies to do what, you know, build their kingdom, right? Joseph Smith, what's the other guy's name? What's the guy for Jehovah Witness? Forget his damn name. You got Joseph Smith, that's supposed to be for the Mormons, right? You have Charles Taze Russell, right, for what the Jehovah Witnesses, you know what I'm saying, and many others, man. I ain't even gonna go into. We'll go into another class on that stuff, man. The man-made religions, but you know they're all there. You know, they're all there. Came up with their own philosophies just based off the teachings of the scriptures. You know what I mean? That means that they made the word of their own private interpretation. All right. And they created and formulated their own doctrine. Okay. So again, you know, that's where you get all of these denominations from. And we ain't have all of these denominations. All right. Yeah, you had different schools of thought, right? You know, that basically that were there during the time of Christ, from the Essenes, the Ebionites, you know what I'm saying, your Pharisees, your Sadducees, you know, uh, and many others, okay, that were around at that time. Those were schools of thought, all right, you know, that were around based on the Torah teachings, okay. Yep, Warren Jeff, uh, he was a what the Church of Latter-day Saints. You know what I'm saying? But you know, he wasn't even a founder. They all started that. They all started that crap, man. You know, way down the line. All right, he's just a quote unquote heathen false prophet, man. You know what I mean? And just use the word of the Lord for their ill-gotten gain, and to have multiple wives of their own sisters and cousins and all kind of nasty stuff. But anyway, so so yeah, so you know, just as I was saying earlier, you know, the Most High is a masculine spirit, right? And I just wanted to go into those precepts to show how powerful His word is, man. It breathes on it. Its power is on a masculine level. Period. All right. Though some may get into the whole words and terminologies and all that other stuff, man. I mean, if we look at it for face value right here, in the English language, yeah, the word of the Most High is quick and powerful. It'll cut you up no matter who you are. All right. If you know how to use it, use it correctly. And I wanted to go back to Hebrews. Hebrews. My juice. Sorry. Let me see. It's a Hebrews. Is it Hebrews chapter 13, I believe. As faith, without faith, it is impossible to please him. It's true. One second, y'all. One second. Hold on. 1 second. Oh wait. Oh yeah, real quick. Let me I want to go to this one too. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 23. That's another one I wanted. Jeremiah 50. We'll come back to Hebrews. Let's go look at Jeremiah chapter 50. Jeremiah 50 and verse 'No, scratch that one. It's not what it wasn't talking about what I wanted to talk about. You just having a ball over there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Chapter 5. Hebrews chapter 5, actually. Yeah, Hebrews chapter 5, and we're going to get verse. Let's get verse 12. Verse 12. We'll get verse 12. Yeah, we're done with Jeremiah 23. So we're going to hit Hebrews chapter 5, and we're going to start at verse 12. Now it says, For when For the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God. You see that? So when we become teachers, right, we have need that one teach us again, right? So basically to be refreshed. Okay. Then he says, so this is what the first principle, right, of the oracles of God, right? Meaning the oracles is the laws, okay? God. He says, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat, right? So when he talks about the milk, okay, the milk is, are the things, the basics, shall we say, all right? The basic things that you go back over, all right? The things that you need understanding on, right? Because at times, right, we can forget about what the basics are about. That's why so many people, man, are confused, man, because they don't even have a basic foundation of what thus said the Lord or the law. You know what I mean? They don't even know where to start, because it's so much out there, right? Well, guess what? You know what I'm saying? You start with the first 5 books of Moses, right? Learn that, okay? And then it says, and not of strong meats, right? Strong meats is talking about, the much deeper things, right? The much deeper things that the scriptures talk about. All right. So you learn the basics first. Get a foundation, okay? Build your foundation, man, on solid ground and not on sand. All right. And he says, verse 13, for every one that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness. All right. Meaning that you're not experienced enough, okay, in the word of righteousness. That's what he's talking about. Those that use milk that have the basic foundation, right? They're unskilled, all right, or unexperienced, okay? So then it says, for he is a babe, right? So you are pretty much a babe, right? When you starting with the basic foundation, okay? So that's why we go back over many of the things for the basic foundation. Many people don't have a basic foundation of, what I'm saying, defending the King James Bible or understanding the King James Bible and its translators, right? Many don't even have a basic understanding of that. You know what I mean? So they're like, well, shoot, when information starts popping up, you know what I'm saying, that others, you know what I'm saying, start bringing up, right? That are unskillful or whatever the case may be, and just throw it on a meme, and next thing you know, the meme said that the Bible is a plagiarism from the Egyptian walls. Come on now, get out of here. All right. And those who are unskilled, who don't have the foundation, they'll easily get flipped upside down, and then they get confounded. All right. So that's why just having the basic understanding of, of things like that, of understanding the Bible, how it was put together, the names of the translators and stuff like that, man. Understanding, the basics of the laws, right? Going into the Sabbath, right? Your dress code, etc. Those things are important because that builds your foundation. You know what I mean? And as you continue to study, you become more skilled. All right. So he says, but strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, right? So the strong meat is for those who are of full age, all right? Full age. Even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil, right? You know the difference between what's right and what's wrong, all right? So so it's like so it's like now you're building upon yourself, you're building upon your spiritual foundation, you're building yourself up. Okay, when you have when you're on the milk, right? So just like with a baby, right? You see our babies, you know, and they can't eat, they can't chew, they can't chew food when they first come out the womb, right? So they have to have milk. Okay, And as they continue drinking the milk, they get stronger, you know what I mean? And as they get older, as you wean them from the breast or from the bottle, you see they start growing teeth, right? And now they can start eating little bits of food, right? Have they little mushy baby foods or soft cereals, you know what I mean? And then you see now they eating a full piece of pizza, you know what I mean? A piece of steak and stuff now, you know what I mean? They're able to chew it and handle it and digest it, and it's good to them, you know what I mean? So it's the same way with your spiritual foundation too. Understanding the scriptures, it's the same exact thing. All right. You're building yourself up from a baby, you know what I mean? Even going into the toddler stage, onto, the teens, into your adult adolescence, to your full aged, you know what I'm saying? I'll destroy anybody that come my way mode. All right. So, or what they say, adulthood. Okay. So, you know, so that's what it is. That's what this is about. Now let's go to Peter. First Peter. First Peter is pretty much gonna say the same thing. Chapter 2, and we're gonna get verse. We're gonna start at verse 1. Now it says, "Wherefore, laying aside all malice." You see that? All malice. It doesn't say some, it doesn't say a little bit. It says all malice and all guile. You see that? And hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings. You see that? So these are all the things that we're supposed to do. What we're supposed to lay aside. All right. Remove from ourselves. Okay. And then he says, as newborn babes, you see that? So when we come into this, right, we're newborn babes, okay? So it's like, like now myself, right, I'm not in the babe stage, you know what I mean? So now I'm in a more of a, what you would call a young adult stage, right, in the truth. You know what I mean? I haven't hit the, full grown adult adult stage of my walk in this truth. All right. So for those who are newborn babes, right? You know what I mean? Those are the things that they have to work on, you know, laying aside all malice, all guile, hypocrisies, envies, all evil speaking. He says, as newborn babes, right? You know, he says, desire the sincere milk of the word. You see that? So newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word. Okay. So that's what you're drinking. That is the milk, the sincere milk of the word, right? So you can precept that with the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and chapters 5, Slagia, and verses 12 and 13. That is the milk. All right. The sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. Okay. So remember, as he said in the Hebrews 5 and 13, right, for everyone that uses milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness, for he is what? He is a babe. Okay. He is a baby. All right. So the sincere milk of the word, right, that's what helps you grow. All right. He says, if so be ye have tasted that the Lord is gracious. You see that? He says, to whom coming as unto a living stone disalloweth indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious. It said, ye also a lively stone, as lively stones are built up a spiritual house. You see that? So we're building up a spiritual house. You see that? And holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable. You see that? To God, the Most High, by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, right? Or Jesus Christ. He says, wherefore also it is contained in the scriptures, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. You see that? He says, so when you believe in Yahweh Shai, right? Remember, he's that chief cornerstone. Okay. So it says you believe on him, right? You know, he's like, he says, you won't be confounded. He says, unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disalloweth, the same is made the head of the corner. A stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. You see that? So even those, you know what I'm saying, who have been called into this, right? You know, those that haven't accepted the Mashiach, man, you know, Christ is a stumbling block for them. Christ is a stumbling block for them. You know, so that's why they'll never fully, you know what I'm saying, come into the true nature of their purpose. All right. He says, but ye are chosen generation, a royal priesthood and holy nation, a particular people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. So we've been called out of darkness, right, into the marvelous light of Yah. Okay. We have now become a part of that holy nation, right? That particular people. So remember, you know what I'm saying? Israel was chosen, right, by Yah, okay, in the beginning. And now remember, he's choosing the elect of his people, right? Those who will truly worship him in spirit and in truth. You know what I mean? Those are the ones who will be a part of this royal priesthood, this holy nation, this particular people. All right. It's not changing to the Gentiles, right? And allowing them to come in. No, it's the Lord specifically picking, right? Picking those who are elect of his people. It's that remnant that will be this royal priesthood, the holy nation, a particular people that God is basically calling. All right. So he says, which in times past were not a people, but are now the people of God, right? So in times past, we were not a people, all right? The Lord was not dealing with, you know, a multitude of our people at all. So remember, what did he say to the 10 tribes, right? In the book of Amos, right? Oh no, it was Hosea, you know. He basically told them that they're not his people, all right? So remember, also in Isaiah, right, chapter 7, he even said that Ephraim, you know what I'm saying, will no longer be a people in 3 score, I think, in 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So that's just going back, looking at the history, right? And just showing you that the New Testament confirms these things. Okay. They confirm, man, the power of the word of the Most High. Okay. Now check this out. And it says, which in times past were not a people, but now are a people of God. It says, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. You see that? So through Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, right? Now all of our people now have received mercy. Everybody gets a shot. Okay. Nobody can say that they didn't get a chance, man. Everybody can hear the prophets wake up. Everybody didn't have contact with an Israelite, man, and you know what they're about. You know what being a Hebrew and everything like that is all about. All right. And you have a chance to go and study for yourself and look at the things. And if your spirit bears witnesses, then guess what? You'll hear the voice of the Most High, all right, calling you. Okay. Dearly beloved, I have beseeched you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. You see that? So he said, abstain from fleshly lust that warreth against the soul. He says, having your conversation honest among the Gentiles. So that even shows you right there that this ain't talking about no dang Gentiles being the holy nation of people and all that. That shows you that this is talking about the Israelites, man, who are being chosen. Okay. That's why he said, having our conversation honest amongst the Gentiles. And he says that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, right? So you see, like, how is it that, we're following what thus said the Lord, but then we sitting here, we're sitting here being looked at as evil because we choose not to celebrate Christmas or Easter or Thanksgiving. You see what I'm saying? We choose to separate ourselves from the pagan days of this society. You see what I'm saying? And we choose to keep the days of the Bible, right? Like Passover, right? Like we just kept, and Pentecost and the Sabbath day, and memorial assignment, and keeping all of these feasts. You know what I mean? That are in the scriptures. But we're looked at as evil because of that. We're called evildoers for doing that which is good. One to them that call evil good and good evil. Now he says, whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may they may by your good works. You see that? So they're gonna speak evil of you. Let it be by your good works. All right. It says, which they shall behold, glorifying God in the day of visitation. Right. So when the Most High soon visits this place, they're gonna see, you know what I mean, that you weren't so evil as they thought you were, right? What you were keeping and what you doing weren't so evil as they thought it was. Okay. And they're gonna glorify God. All right. He says, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, right? So he's talking about the laws, right? You know what I'm saying? We're in captivity. We got to make sure that you know, we abide by, what I'm saying, the laws of the countries that we're from. All right. You know what I mean? So, so if here say stop at a red light, stop at a red light. You know what I mean? You know, if they say, hey, you need an ID to get in a certain place, make sure you got your ID. Okay. You know, but you're doing it for the Lord's sake, so they can't speak evil of you. It's just like you being a righteous citizen. Okay, don't cause no trouble. You know what I'm saying? Stay out of the streets, man. Go to work like you're supposed to. File your taxes. No tax evasions and none of that stuff, man. And you'll be good. Just like Christ said, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and give unto the Lord that which is of the Lord. Okay, so it's as simple as that. All right. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake. It says, whether it be to the king as supreme, right? So if you're serving the king, make sure you serve the king as the way you're supposed to. You see that our ancestors did that, right? You had the men who were cupbearers to the king. They handed the king his glass of wine. They gave him counsel. Whatever the king needed, that's what they did, right? They guarded his gates. They were security, all of that. Okay. You know, or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, right? You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you cooperate with law enforcement when evil goes on, all that stuff, man. Or if you in law enforcement yourself, don't oppress your people, man. Arrest those that do evil. You know what I mean? Don't let they off the hook. You know what I'm saying? Just do what's right. All right. And for the praise of them that do well. You see that? And praise them that do well. All right. For so is the will of God, that with well doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. And I'm gonna leave it right there. All right. He said that he said that with well doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. All right. So we showing by us being examples and model citizens, right? Not only following the word of the Most High, but also being model citizens here in this disgusting place, right? We'll shut up those who have evil things to say about us. All right. So, you know, it is what it is. All right. Follow the law of the Most High, right? Follow the principles, man. You know what I'm saying? That are being taught to us here in this New Testament as well. All right. So of course, you know what I'm saying. The water for joining us for our closing Sabbath. All right, class. Hope everyone enjoyed. You know what I mean, and definitely like, subscribe, and share. Our content. And with that, I will say shalom.